I have always had this quiet thought, just watching people around me. You see someone who talks about how they skip meals or fast every single day, and sometimes they look glowing, like they have so much energy.
Yeah, you can spot it right away. It is such a bright, clear look.
Right. But then I look at someone else doing the exact same routine,
hmm
and they just look so tired, like deeply drawn and sort of gray.
I know exactly what you mean. It is a really stark contrast.
And it feels so confusing because, well, we always hear that giving your stomach a break is this ultimate way to stay youthful. We hear it slows down aging, but for so many people, it almost looks like it is aging them faster.
It really does. It kind of looks like they're just fading.
Exactly. And I always wonder, is there some hidden cost that we just ignore because we are too busy praising them for being so hardcore and disciplined?
Oh, absolutely. And it really comes down to this silent tug of war going on inside your body. It is a constant pull between resting and repairing and just pure stress.
So it is not just about calories.
Not at all. If you force things too hard, you are not just missing out on the good parts. You might actually be breaking down your own skin, melting your muscle, and hurting your basic cell health.
Hurting your cell health, that is kind of scary to think about.
It is, because so many of us do this.
So if you are listening right now and you have been dealing with dull skin or feeling soft or waking up tired and your inner voice is just saying, I just need to try harder, you really need to hear this.
Yeah, that guilt is so heavy, and it is usually wrong.
Because your habits might actually be the thing wearing you down. But before we get into where things go wrong, let's just talk about the baseline. What is actually happening inside us when we stop eating?
Well, when your body gets a real break from food, it enters the state of deep cleaning. It usually kicks in around 12 to 16 hours for most of us.
Okay, so a half day or so.
Right, and this deep clean is basically an internal recycling system. Your body goes in, finds old, broken proteins, clears out inflammation, and starts fresh. It is like an anti-aging cleanup crew.
It sounds kind of like hiring a night crew for a busy office building. They can only do their work when the office is closed and the workers have gone home.
That is a perfect way to look at it.
So they come in, empty the trash, fix the broken chairs, and make the whole place look brand new for the morning.
Yes. But here is the catch. That cleaning crew only works if the building is quiet and feels totally safe. The cleanup process needs a very calm state in the body.
So what happens if things are not calm?
Well, if you push your body into high stress, your adrenal glands release cortisol.
Cortisol, so that is like the stress hormone.
Exactly. It is the alarm bell.
So if the fire alarm suddenly goes off in that office building, which is the cortisol spike, the cleaning crew isn't going to just keep vacuuming the rug.
No, they drop their mops and run away.
They just leave the building.
Right away. When you are under high stress, your body only cares about raw survival. It stops caring about long-term repair. The deep clean just shuts down completely.
Wow. So the good stuff just stops.
It stops. And it gets much worse than just a paused cleaning shift. Because cortisol is not just a loud noise. It is a really harsh hormone if it stays high for too long.
What does it actually do?
When it stays high, cortisol literally breaks down your skin. It makes it thin and prone to lines. It eats into your muscle tissue to make quick fuel. And it lowers your immunity.
So the reason these harsh fasting habits age you isn't because the fasting itself adds damage. It is because the stress blocks the exact healing that the fasting was supposed to start in the first place.
You nailed it. That is the exact trap. When you force a long fast while you are deeply stressed, you create high levels of wear and tear inside your cells.
And that wear and tear is what makes people look so exhausted and gray.
Yes, it literally shortens the tiny protective caps on the ends of your DNA.
Wait, I have heard of those caps. What do they actually do?
Think of them like the little plastic tips on the ends of your shoelaces. They keep the strings from fraying. Every time a cell divides, those caps get a tiny bit shorter.
And when they get too short?
The cell stops working right, it gets old. So making those caps shorter is pretty much the exact definition of aging faster.
That is wild. You think you are doing this amazing health routine, but you are actually flooding your body with cortisol and snipping the ends off your DNA.
Exactly. It is such a cruel trick.
So, knowing that cortisol is the enemy of this cleanup process, let's look at the habits that trigger it.
Yeah.
Because some of these just look like pure discipline, like pushing the window to the absolute limit.
Oh, this is such a common one. A lot of people fall into the trap of thinking, if skipping breakfast is good, skipping all my meals for 20 hours must be amazing.
Right, the whole more is better mindset.
Exactly. But pushing it to 20 or 23 hours every single day tells your body it is facing a severe threat. It thinks you are in a famine.
Because there is zero food coming in.
Right. So cortisol stays high all day long just to keep your blood sugar up and keep your brain awake. For most of us, the sweet spot to get the cleanup without the stress is actually just 14 to 16 hours.
So doing more is not better. It is just way more stressful.
Much more stressful. And then people add another massive stress trigger to force their way through the hunger.
Let me guess. The coffee.
You know it. The one everyone loves to brag about.
Yes. People will proudly say, I just crushed a 20-hour fast and I powered right through with 3 huge black coffees.
It feels like such a win, right? You ignore the hunger, you are highly buzzed, you feel sharp. But caffeine directly triggers cortisol to release.
And we already have cortisol in the morning, don't we?
We do. Naturally, we need a surge of energy just to wake up and get out of bed. So right after you open your eyes, your cortisol naturally peaks.
It gets you going for the day.
Right. It is supposed to happen.
Right.
But if you dump massive amounts of caffeine on top of that natural wake-up spike, especially on an empty stomach when there's no food to slow it down, you create this huge, lasting stress wave.
And that wave is what damages the skin and ruins sleep later.
Exactly. It just burns you out.
Wait, I have to push back a little here. Because we hear all the time that black coffee has 0 calories. It is basically just hot bean water.
True. It has no calories.
So how on earth does it ruin the benefits? If there are no calories for the stomach to deal with, the deep clean should still be happening, right?
I completely get why it feels like a total mix-up. But fasting is not just a math game about calories. It is mostly about your hormones.
So it is about the signals we send.
Yes. 1 normal cup of coffee is fine. It might even help. But when you drink 3 large ones, the sheer volume of caffeine pushes your stress levels so high that your body screams, "We are in danger."
And the cleaning crew drops their mops again.
Exactly. It drops the repair work right away. The sharp focus you feel when you power through is just an illusion. It is a stress response that costs you your youth.
If you are listening to this and thinking, but I feel fine running on 3 coffees, you really need to think about how your body actually feels.
Like a subtle signs we ignore.
Yeah. Like a friend of mine, she was doing a 20-hour window every day. She drank tons of coffee to kill her appetite, and she even worked out super hard.
She probably thought she was doing everything perfectly.
She really did. But her hair was getting thin, her skin looked dull, and her sleep was so light and broken, and she just thought she needed to push herself harder.
Which is such a sad reaction. We are so trained to think feeling bad just means we lack willpower.
Right. But when she realized it was a stress trap, she just made things gentler. She went down to 16 hours, she dropped to 1 coffee, and she drank it a bit later in the morning.
Letting her natural wake-up energy settle first.
Exactly. And her skin cleared up, her hair got stronger, and she slept so much better. She looked younger because her body finally got to heal instead of fighting fake alarms all day.
She stopped pulling the fire alarm on her own cells. That is a beautiful shift.
It makes so much sense. So if coffee is sounding the alarm, what happens when we throw heavy workouts into the mix? Let's talk about the muscles. Why are so many people melting their own tone?
This happens when people do intense workouts while running on empty. A light morning walk is great. It helps you wake up. But heavy lifting or high-impact training,
That feels like a lot to ask of the body.
it is. You are stacking 2 massive stress signals on top of each other. The fasting is a stress, and the heavy lifting is a huge stress.
Because your heart rate goes up, your muscles tear.
Right. Cortisol spikes hard to give you the quick energy to lift the weights, but because your stomach is empty, there are 0 nutrients coming in to help handle the stress.
And nothing to fix the muscle you just broke down.
Nothing at all.
So doing heavy lifting on an empty stomach is like, it's like hiring a big crew to build a brick wall, but you don't give them any bricks to use.
That is exactly it. And because the crew has strict orders to build and they need materials right this second, they just turn around and tear down the older walls to find bricks.
Wow. The body will just eat itself.
It absolutely will. It will break down your existing muscle into basic parts just to survive the intense stress of the workout.
That is wild.
And this ties right into another silent problem. Eating very low protein when you finally do sit down for a meal. This is the one that sneaks up on almost everyone.
Oh, I see this all the time.
Yeah.
Because if you squeeze all your meals into just a few hours, getting enough protein is really hard. You just feel full so fast.
You really do. You eat 1 meal, maybe a snack, and you feel totally stuffed.
And you think you did a good job.
But the truth is sobering. As we get older, we naturally lose muscle mass every decade if we don't actively protect it. Muscle loss makes you age so fast.
Because you get weaker and your body burns less energy.
Exactly. It slows you down, it weakens your bones, and it totally changes your shape. To stop this, you need a solid amount of protein every single day.
Yeah, and if you were only eating a bowl of pasta and a small salad in your short window, you were missing the mark by a mile.
Not even close to what you need. And the crazy part is the damage rolls over into the next day.
Wait, the next day?
Yes. If you have low protein intake during your eating window, your body realizes it is short on supplies. So the next day, while you are fasting again, it triggers a backup plan.
Let me guess. It tears down more walls.
Yes. Your body needs a steady flow of protein parts just to keep your organs working and your immunity strong. If you didn't store enough from your food, your body looks at your arms and legs like an emergency pantry.
It just opens the door and takes what it needs from your muscles.
It takes whatever it needs. When food is missing, your body will always choose keeping your organs alive over keeping your arms looking toned.
That makes so much sense. I see people who work out constantly while skipping meals and they just look sort of deflated.
Right, their face gets drawn, their shoulders soften.
And if they just move their workout to right before they eat, things would change, right? So we work out and then immediately eat a good meal with lots of protein.
That changes everything. You still get the benefits of the workout, but now the bricks are waiting for the builders. The tone comes back and you heal much faster.
You give the builders their bricks. I love that. Okay, so we talked about the coffee, the timing, and the workouts. But what if someone has all of that perfect?
There is still one big trap.
Right. There is one foundation that can wreck it all. Sleep.
Fasting after a really bad night of sleep? Anything less than 7 hours, honestly?
This one is so tough. Because life is messy. You stay up late working, or you get sucked into your phone, or you just have a restless night.
We have all been there. It is just normal life.
But then you wake up and think, well, I still have to stick to my fasting rule today. I can't break my streak. I would feel so guilty.
That guilt is so common. But sleep and fasting are deeply linked. In the body, skipping breakfast after 5 hours of sleep is a totally different event than skipping it after 8 hours of deep rest.
How is it different?
When you sleep poorly, your stress system is already running hot.
Yeah.
Your morning cortisol is way higher than normal. Your hunger hormone spikes up, making you crave junk.
And the hormone that tells you when you are full just drops.
It drops flat, so you are extra hungry, food doesn't satisfy you, and your base stress is through the roof.
And the deep clean.
Barely happens. Because the stress is so high, the cleanup is blocked. Pushing a fast on bad sleep doesn't slow down aging. It actually raises inflammation and wears you out.
So if I have a terrible night of sleep, am I actually better off just eating breakfast the next morning?
Yes, mostly. Adding the stress of a fast on top of the stress of bad sleep is just a recipe for burnout.
That is such a relief to hear.
Listening to your body is always better. A good, calming breakfast helps steady your cortisol. It is way better for your long-term health than forcing a fast just because a clock on your phone says so.
We don't have to white-knuckle our way through exhaustion just to be healthy. Health shouldn't feel like a punishment.
It really shouldn't. It should feel supportive.
Okay, so we know what breaks the flow: the high stress from long windows, too much coffee, working out on empty, and terrible sleep.
Those are the big blockers.
Now let's talk about how to actively support the body. When we finally sit down to eat, what should we reach for to help the deep clean?
Mainly, you want foods that calm things down. Fatty fish, like salmon, is amazing. It is full of healthy fats.
What do those fats actually do for us?
They actively lower the fire inside the body. They lower the inflammation that you were trying to clear out in the first place. They work right alongside the cleanup crew.
Oh, that is great. What else?
Eggs, Greek yogurt, or cottage cheese. They give your body really easy to absorb proteins. Yogurt and cottage cheese are special because they digest very slowly.
Why does slow digestion matter?
Because it acts like a slow drip of protein into your system over many hours. If you eat it during your day, it guards your muscles later that night while you rest. It keeps the emergency pantry locked.
So the body doesn't need to raid the muscles. That is brilliant.
Yeah.
What about skin health, since the stress hormone hurts our skin so much?
Bone broth is wonderful for this.
Yeah.
It gives your body the exact building blocks it needs to make fresh, bouncy skin. It directly fights the wear and tear from stress.
And it is so warm and soothing, too.
It really is. Add in some dark berries, like blueberries. They have dark pigments that literally guard your DNA caps from damage.
That sounds delicious.
And walnuts. They are natural helpers for melatonin, which sets you up for a really deep sleep later on.
Okay, so that is the good stuff. But what is on the do not fly list? What actively ruins the cleanup if we eat it?
Ultra-processed foods are the worst offenders. They cause a really harsh reaction with sugar in your body.
How does that sugar reaction work?
Imagine taking a really soft, stretchy rubber band and dipping it into thick, sticky sugar syrup. Then you let the syrup dry and harden.
The rubber band would get stiff. It would probably snap if you pulled it.
Exactly. That is what heavy sugar does to the soft tissues in your body. The sugar binds to your skin fibers and makes them stiff and brittle. It undoes all the nice cleanup you just finished.
That is such a vivid picture. Sugar literally hardens your face
It does. And alcohol is another big hurdle. It just stops the deep clean right in its tracks.
because the liver has to deal with the alcohol first.
Right. It drops everything else to process the drink. So even a single glass can shut down the cellular healing you worked so hard for.
What about those cheap cooking oils? The seed oils you find in packaged snacks.
They are very harsh. High amounts of those processed oils trigger a massive alarm bell in your cells.
So they cause more inflammation.
Yes. If the whole point of skipping meals is to calm the body down, eating cheap oils just floods your system with the exact fire you were trying to put out.
It's like spending all night cleaning that office building and then throwing a massive party in the lobby the second the cleaners leave.
That is a perfect way to say it. You just make a huge mess all over again.
So let's talk about daily habits,
Ah,
because it's not just about the food on our plate.
yeah.
How do we structure our day to keep the stress low and help the body feel safe?
There are two super gentle habits you can use. The first is getting real morning light in your eyes shortly after you wake up.
Just going outside and looking at the sky.
Just stepping outside. That simple light sets your daily clock. It perfectly times that natural wake-up energy we talked about.
So it tells the body it is morning.
Yes. It says, it is daytime, we are safe, we are awake. It makes the whole day feel smoother. And it even sets a timer for your sleep hormone to release 12 hours later so you sleep deeply.
That is free and it takes zero effort. I love that.
The second habit is just taking 5 or 10 minutes to breathe slowly during the day.
Just deep breaths.
Just deep, slow breaths. Since going without food naturally raises your stress just a little bit, taking a moment to sit and breathe actively calms the alarm bells. It keeps you in that safe healing zone.
I think this is such an important reminder for anyone listening, because it is easy to get overwhelmed by all the rules.
It really is. But it shouldn't feel like a full-time job.
You know, I think of someone who used to try so hard. She did the huge fasting windows, drank all the coffee, ate hardly any protein, and she just felt awful.
She was stuck in the stress loop.
But she didn't flip her whole life upside down to fix it. She just made these gentle choices. She shortened her window, had her coffee a little later, and made sure her first meal was packed with protein.
And I bet her body thanked her for it.
It totally did.
Correct.
Her skin got its bounce back, her hunger stopped feeling so frantic, and she actually felt younger.
Because the body wants to heal. It just needs a safe space to do it.
Right, you don't have to live in total restriction to be well. Health is not a contest to see who can suffer the most. This is about making gentle choices that work with your body, not against it.
If we look at the big picture, skipping meals is a powerful tool. But like any tool, how you hold it matters. If you grip it too tight, you hurt yourself.
Because your body doesn't know the difference between the stress of a long fast, the stress of 3 black coffees, or the stress of a terrible boss.
Stress is just stress. The fire alarm sounds exactly the same to your cells.
So if your sleep is getting worse, or your skin is dull, or you just feel heavy, your body isn't telling you to push harder. It is begging you to slow down.
It changes how we look at discipline, doesn't it? True discipline might just be finally paying attention.
It really does. Which leaves me thinking about this. What if the ultimate way to stay youthful isn't about what we completely cut out of our lives, or how much hunger we can push through on sheer willpower? What if the real secret to living a long, vibrant life is just our ability to listen to the quiet, subtle whispers our bodies have been sending us all along? Could the real secret just be ending the war against our own biology?
These thoughts, these questions, they don't have to stop here. Wellness Geeks has many more podcasts and videos just like this one. Subscribe to the channel and explore other episodes. They all flow the same gentle way. If this podcast felt genuinely useful to me, share it with even one person in your life. That one share can bring a real change in someone's life, and it helps Wellness Geeks reach more people who truly need this. If this brought you real value, look for the join button right next to the Wellness Geeks logo below this video. Click it and become a member of the Wellness Support Circle. Your support helps honest health awareness reach thousands who are silently struggling. Wellness Geeks moves forward because of you. Thank you so much from my heart for being here.